Great. Take any questions you may have.
Rich, the last few days we've been talking to Robert Rochelle, and I know he was going through a lot on Thanksgiving. I was just kind of curious just what you thought of what he gave you guys, and then also with everything that was kind of going on, just what you thought of his performance to step up like that.
Well, as far as Robert goes, every time he's up, he plays well for us. You know, he plays in all four phases, does a really good job. He's physical, he can run, he's really smart. We play him at multiple positions. And then, you know, it's unfortunate what happened, you know, with him and what he went through. But he did a great job of dealing with it. I know the guys in the locker room are real close. You know, we call him Scooter. So the guys are real close with him, and I think they rallied around him certainly throughout the day of the game. And you know, he went in and performed well. The opportunity came, and he made it. You know, made the best of it. So
when Coach LaFleur awards him a game ball, does that also send a message like anybody on this team can make a difference in a game?
I think Coach has done a great job with that all year, that anyone can make a difference in the game. And it's come up a bunch, you know, taking the ball away is a big deal to everyone. It's certainly a big deal to us. And then, you know, I think Bo made the big play in the Minnesota game and gave us a chance there. And now Robert comes up with it. And, you know, I think the ball is critical, right? You win the ball, you win the game. So I think for Coach LaFleur to do that, he's been doing that with guys on offense, on defense, and in the kicking game. It's certainly emphasized what we're trying to do with takeaways in the game, and I think for him to get the game ball just shows that it can go to anybody, right? That gets in position to make a play and then makes the play. So I think Coach has done a great job with that throughout the year.
On that punt, the way it seemed like it kind of drifted at the end, was that something Daniel did kicking it, or was that just the elements kind of screwing up the return?
Well, he was going across. He calls it a boomerang, but that wind, as we've seen, you know, that's the same end zone that you know, Keyshawn had the trouble with. I can't remember what game, but Keyshawn had trouble with the ball down there too. So it's a difficult end zone. That was a young return guy, and you know, the second one almost came out as well, you know, going the other way. So, you know, when Daniel goes across his body like that and the ball starts, that point goes up and that tail comes down, it drifts away. You better get your belly button under the ball. So it was fortunate for us.
With all their injuries, what challenges does it make as far as prepping for their guys? Like their punt returners out, I think they got rid of their kick returners on IR, the punt returners out. I'm sure they probably had to elevate a bunch of their other guys that fill roles. So what does that do for you guys? Yeah,
I think somebody's going to be back there on both, you know. So we're, again, Dave Phipp does a tremendous job. Coach Campbell's built a bully over there, and they'll have people back there ready to play. I thought they played well, you know, last week with the guys that they had back there. Punter's a tremendous player. Kicker's playing outstanding. Heck of a year, you know, coming from the USFL. So we're expecting to play a fast, physical team. We always do. We go against each other and see who comes out on the better end.
What's unique about Fox as the punter? Just his consistency or distance? Or
he's really good catch to kick time. He knows where he wants to go with the ball. He's played a lot of indoor games, you know, so he does a great job directing the football, putting it where he wants. He can play the boundary. He can play across the field. He's a tremendous holder. You know, he's been around a while, and he's got a lot of experience. So, you know, I thought he came here in bad weather and played really well also. So a lot of respect for him and the way he plays.
Hey, Rich, talking to Orzek today, he pointed out how the operation has been through a bunch of different weather situations. Obviously, that's not an issue this week. But how have you seen that battery kind of hit a consistency point with the three of them now that they've had some time together?
Yeah, good question. I just think it's a credit to them and the amount of work that they get, you know, during practice, on their own, days off, you know, things of that nature. They have the ability to go in the creek and do some of those things. But, you know, we have a routine that we go through, and it all starts with Matt. You know, I've heard in the last few weeks people talked about you know, field goals are becoming mundane now, and PATs becoming mundane, and it's, you know, it's not an object that just sits there. You know, it's an operation. You got to snap it, you got to hold it, and you got to kick it, right? You got to get laced a certain way, and no one talks about the ball. You know, it's a kicking ball. If you look in the cold weather, that thing looks like a shiny, greased up, you know, piece of pigskin. but it's a different ball as well. So to handle that at the snapper position in all different kinds of weather is a credit to him, but it's a credit to the three of them in the way in which they work. It's been a good battery so far. I would expect it to stay the same.
Who do you expect to be their punt returner? Do you know?
Yep.
Alexander, or do you think it's?
Well, I mean, they've played a bunch of guys back there, you know. They put, they'll have somebody back there. The last guy they played back there was really fast, so it seems everybody they put back there is faster than the guy that was there before. So we'll.
Multiple guys that
Sure.
we have to.
Again, I'm just expecting them to have somebody back there that's extremely capable, you know. We have to do a good job of wrapping up and tackling.
Rich, what do you think of just the job that Keyshawn did on the first return there to kind of get things going? I think that was his longest of the season.
Yeah, it was finally well blocked, you know, and I think we had over there, I know Eric had a good block and Zane, I believe, and I thought Brendan Cox did a good job his first time out there for us, got a good block on the front side. So Key does a great job of setting those up when he's going to go in that direction, and like to see him make the kicker miss every now and then, but we give him enough crap for that in our building. So Kyle Wilbur said I think he thinks he's been tackled by every kicker in the National Football League. So, but yeah, it's a good way. Obviously, you know, some momentum, right? To start a game like that, they defer, they give us the ball, and we have a chance to make a big play. And then after that, you know, we stalled out, but we had the play on the punt, you know, to set us up on that. So it was a good way to start the game.
You guys were obviously ready for their fake there last year. I'm sure you emphasize watch out for the fakes every week. Is it heightened this week, just given that they like to do that sometimes?
Again, it's one of those teams, you know, that's had a lot of those, and they've lost Maben back there to this point. You know, I hope he comes back and plays soon. He's one of my favorite players in the league. He's a tremendous player. He does a lot of things when he's back there, and so you're always preparing for him when he's there. The guy they have now has played a lot of football, and I'm sure they could do the same things with him. So you have to be prepared for that going into the game, because they've done it at any place, you know, at any time. I think ours was on the 23-yard line, if I'm not mistaken, you know, and so you have to be prepared for that going into the game. But, you know, you don't want to play scared either. You want to put yourself in position to hopefully, you know, put some pressure on them and give us a chance to make a play somewhere in the punt return game as well.
You guys good?
Great. Thanks, guys.
Just finished the meetings and I didn't even know what day it was. So it is Thursday, and there's a game on tonight, which means it's Thursday night football. And I feel like I've been here like 3 times in the last 4 days. The week off, yeah.
You got, there's Thursday night football tonight.
I know. It feels like it.
Long break after
A
this.
real long one, yeah. All right, guys, what do we got?
Your players are 3 games in 12 days.
You know, that's what I said to them. You know, as much as we're tired as coaches, and I mean, those guys are the ones. I said to them in the team meeting to start the week, which I don't even know what day it is, so whatever 2 days was ago. I just give them a lot of credit. You know, it's funny. Today is Monday, right? Yeah, I'll joke aside. Today's Monday. So yesterday at this time, I mean, we were just getting ready to play the 49ers, which when you think about it, that game seems like it was forever ago. So yesterday at this time, we were getting ready to play the Niners, and we've already played the 49ers and the Dolphins. So a lot of credit to our players. I mean, those are the ones playing the game and how physical they played in those 2 games. Those were 2 really physical games. I thought we played hard. I thought we hit. I thought we got off blocks. I thought we tackled, and I thought we gave everything we had. So for those guys to do that twice within the week, I have a ton of respect for them and give them a lot of credit. And then to recover and be able to get ready to do it again, those are the guys that deserve all the credit. So they're doing great. You know, their spirits are high. Their practices have been really good. I mean, we were a little bit more of a jog-through pace a day ago, and today we ramped it up. And they're into it. They're locked in. They're communicating. They're having fun, and they're really working hard. And I give them a lot of credit, and I really appreciate them for that.
Jeff, last time, they didn't have Jameson Williams, right, when you played him last time?
That's right.
Obviously, they're good regardless, but his speed, what element does that add, and how much harder does that make them?
Just like you would think. I mean, they've got really good players, so whether they have them or not, they're still a really good offense and are very explosive, you know, with the running backs, the tight end. They're other wide receivers, and they're really good up front. But he's an explosive guy. I mean, he can really stretch the field, and he can get the ball in his hands on the perimeter and turn them into big plays, you know, just like a lot of their other guys, kind of like the guys we just played. So he was actually at Ohio State the 1 year I was there, and I remember, you know, we had a couple of high draft picks on defense, and I remember a couple of times he ran by him, and I mean, I was like, that guy's going to be a special player, and he is. So he's a dangerous guy when he gets the ball in his hand.
They have so many guys injured on defense, so do you expect them offensively to be more aggressive, set up more 4th downs, or does that not play a role? Do you look at any of that?
I don't know. I think they have a certain play style, and I think they'll probably stick to it. That's, you know, it's a better question for them than for me to kind of guess as to what they're going to do. You know, I was with their defensive coordinator. Me and him were DB coaches in Cleveland together, Aaron Glenn. I know he does a really good job. Great guy, great coach. He was an unbelievable player. But he has a certain, you know, scheme that he likes, and I'm guessing they'll stick to it. There are a lot of guys have injuries around the league right now, and, you know, that's a part of it, and I'm sure they got guys ready to step up.
Hey Jeff, over the weekend I had asked Matt about Isaiah and kind of how he performed on Thursday. He mentioned going out of the San Francisco game, he wasn't even sure if he was going to be able to go or not and make that turn. Just what did you think of, you know, the way he performed and being able to, you know, go from being estimated as a non-participant to a guy that played as many snaps and was as impactful as he was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked that. I get like the chills like thinking about you asking me that question because the last time we were in here, so we asked why he missed a play, right? Because he was running out of the tunnel because he was trying to get healthy to play in the game. And I really didn't want to get into it because, you know, for the obvious reasons for the next opponent. But we didn't know if he'd come out in that half, and he missed one play. And he finished the game against the Niners, and then he didn't do anything all week, and we didn't even know he was going to play. I mean, you want to talk about tough? I mean, that guy, yeah. I mean, you got to give him so much credit for how much he cares about this team, for how badly he wants to play football, for on a short week to get his body ready to play in that game. I mean, that guy's what's right about football. I mean, that's incredible what he was able to do, and then the way he played. I mean, that guy had some huge plays in the game. The breakup before the fourth down stop in the 2-minute drive, the tackle he made after that on the sideline. I mean, he played about as physical and aggressive as you can imagine. I mean, and he definitely wasn't 100%. And there's a lot of guys that, you know, might not even played on a short week. You talk about these guys going through it. I mean, talk about what's right about, you know, the sport. You know, I love that guy.
I have 2 questions. Do you want the good energy or the bad energy one first?
You know what? You're wearing he feels good. And he's wearing a Syracuse jacket today. Big win for his Syracuse. He's showing off, and now he's just shooting questions. So go ahead. Whatever one you want.
I'll go bad first.
That's fine.
You guys lead the league in offsides, neutral zone, and encroachment penalties. Matt said the other day that lining up in the neutral zone is going to kill you guys. How many more coaching points are there to get that right, and how difficult is it to time up a snap count correct?
Well, it's infuriating. I mean, you want to talk about just giving away free yards and free plays. I mean, you know how hard it is to get somebody stopped on 3rd and 4th down. I mean, we had 2 red zone stops last week because we stopped them. They were going to go for a field goal. We jumped on a field goal, and then we stopped them again. I mean, you go back to the last Lions game. We had a 4-point swing. We had them stopped, and we jumped off sides on the same deal. Like, that can't happen. I mean, it can't. It's like to me, pre-snap and post-snap penalties are totally inexcusable. I mean, you're just giving away free yards and free plays, and it can't happen. And it's being addressed, and it's not okay, and we have to do something about it. But that's not a bad energy question. That's a real question, and it has to stop. But we got to clean those up. You know, when a guy's playing, like, if a DB's playing hard and he fouls a guy down the field, and, you know, that happens sometimes, like, within the course of a play. But if you're lining up offside, or if it's a critical 3rd down and 4 to 5 or 4th and 4 to 5, and pretty much everyone knows we're going to try to draw, so we have to do better there. We have to. So that's next question.
We talked last week about Quay kind of playing his best ball now. Do you feel the same with Van Ness after the last couple games as well?
I do, and I think there's a lot of guys starting to hit that stride. I think guys are gaining confidence in themselves. They're gaining confidence in the scheme because they know what they're doing, and they're getting more confidence in what they're doing. And when you have cumulative reps over time, that usually happens. And I think Quay's a prime example where a lot of you guys kind of asked me, and it was like he's going to be okay. And he's playing his best football, and I still think he's going to get even better because I have that high expectations for him because I think he's that talented, and you're starting to see it. And if you guys were to watch him at practice right now, he's practicing with a whole different level of confidence, and you can hear it. Just how loud he is when he's communicating, how he's bending, how he's lining up, how he's moving around. And Van Ness is doing the same thing. And it's just, you know, I appreciate the patience, but it's a matter of time before these guys in year one with new techniques and new system and new calls are getting more comfortable. And the whole goal is to play better and better each week, where the last game of the year we're playing is as good football as we have. And that's what he's doing right now. And I'm proud of him because it's hard. I mean, and he didn't lose his confidence, but there's moments it's like this because he's got high expectations from outside and from inside. And, you know, you could see early on, you could see that waning on him a little bit, but he should be confident right now because he's playing good football. And I expect a lot out of him too, and I'm excited to see what he can do in these last, you know, this week for sure.
Jeff, speaking of Quay, you know, we talked to him after the game, and he was, I don't know if I've ever had a player in all the time doing this talk the way he did about how hard he is on himself and how it affects him? As a coach, it's your job obviously to teach fundamentals and the scheme and everything else, but has that been a work for you as a coach to try and get him to understand how good he's capable of being and how maybe letting things go would help him be a better player? Is that part of your job?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's our job as coaches, maybe as much as teaching the fundamentals and technique. I mean, and that's why over time you develop relationships with these guys. And when you see them having a hard day, it's our job not to ignore it and beat them down. It's our job to pick them up. And while probably the whole outside world was beating them up, we were picking them up and showing them how good he can be and how good he's gonna be, and to keep believing and keep pushing forward, which is why I made the point that I made the other day, like, and I don't even remember what game it is now because I feel like, we played so many, but the one game he didn't play real well. He didn't play well, the Bears game. And what did he do? He came back and played one of his best games he's played. And that's probably what I was most proud of. And then what did he do? He probably played better last week than he played the week before. And now he's gaining that confidence, and he is hard on himself. And most great players are hard on themselves. But it is our job when a guy's going through it and people are, pointing fingers at him and saying, that's when we got to pick guys up. It's easy if everybody's talking about how great you are, and we got to kind of bring them back down, and show them that they could be even better so they don't start believing the hype. But our job's also to help those guys out, So definitely, that's a good question.
The other day, Lions and Bears, I think it's second half, Lions are in the red zone, and Goff fakes a pitch off to the left, and Laporta releases like off left tackle area is like wide open, flips him a touchdown. When you see that play, when you discuss that play with your players, is that like Ben Johnson's going to show you this eye candy before you? How do you prevent that?
Well, I think that happens all the time, especially as you get closer to the red zone. The tighter you get in the red zone, the better your eyes have to be. That's football in general. There's so much misdirection the closer you get from all these teams we played. Last week, the week before, this week. So your eye discipline and where your eyes are and keeping your eyes on your work. The moment if I'm supposed to be looking over here at this Syracuse jacket and I get my eyes over here, it's a touchdown because something's dangling out over here, and now all of a sudden he throws it over there. Or keep your eyes over here where they're supposed to be, right? And that's hard sometimes, and he does a good job with that.
Two more, please.
Where do you think your run defense is right now, and in what ways has it gotten? But I understand that the games were a little bit different. Maybe they didn't run as much, but McCaffrey didn't do anything, and neither did Miami. How much has that grown and improved, and in what ways?
Well, I think it starts up front. Our D-line's doing such a good job of staying square, using their hands, getting off blocks. Guys aren't just running up the field. I think our linebackers have a better feel for where they're supposed to be within the scheme and with the D-lineman, and it's all kind of starting to work together. I think we're setting edges way better. So I think the fundamentals of technique, I think understanding the system, and then I think the play style. I think we're playing harder and harder each week, and I think that's how you play good defense. We talk about takeaways, we talk about effort, we talk about fundamentals and technique. The interior part of our D-line has done such a good job these last few games. They really have. They're hard to block, they're staying in their gaps, they're tearing off of blocks, and it's the same thing with those defensive ends. They're setting edges, they're forcing the ball back inside, they're getting off blocks, and then we're tackling, and we're running to the ball, and there's multiple people to the ball. And when you turn on our tape right now and you freeze it, you see that. You see a lot of guys around the football. And then you're not afraid, right? Like if I have an open field tackle and I know 8 other guys are coming, I'm going to take my shot because I know if I miss, it's going to be bang, bang, bang. We've got 3 or 4 other guys there, and we're starting to play faster. I think the run defense the last few weeks has been really good. I do still think there's room for improvement because it's like -1, 1-yard gain, -2, 1-yard gain, and then we'll do something that we're just a little off, it'll be like a 15, 20-yard gain. Even in the last game when they only had 40 yards rushing, we let the one out where, it's disappointing. But that's football. They're going to make some plays too, but I still think there's room for improvement and we can clean some stuff up.
How do you get them, what's your strategy in tackling a guy like Montgomery? Because it's got to be sort of like other teams have to do with Josh Jacobs. Is there a way you can approach? You said take your shot, but...
Yeah, I think anytime you play a big back, and we've played a lot of them, and obviously he runs really hard, and I think he's a great player, Each week there's a tackling plan on how you tackle some of these guys. The bigger backs, you want to kill their legs. You know, you want to stop their legs. Obviously, you stop the legs, you stop the guy from running. And some guys you want to tackle lower, and you have to go lower on certain guys. But there's definitely a plan when you have to go in against bigger backs. But he's a guy you got to get multiple people around because he's gonna try to run through contact and he's gonna break tackles just like our guy does.
When teams are, when they push the pile, let's say you kind of have a guy tackled at the 5 and they're pushing him in, are there any techniques, anything to do other than just try to push back?
Yeah, you get every one of your guys and you drive it back 5 yards and you don't let that happen. Like, that can't happen. I never want to see that on tape. Neither do our guys. If that thing starts going back, there better be 11 of our guys driving it back 5 yards, and the ref should have to stop the play. Period. I don't like seeing that. You got me going on that one. All right, back to work.
What's the challenge of getting ready for an opponent that has so many guys injured and you may or may not have a whole bunch of video of this guy or that guy or this guy?
Yeah, you know, you have to kind of see what they've done throughout the course of the year and just kind of see what they're about. They could obviously change their game plan depending on what personnel they have. So kind of as the game goes on, we may have to make some adjustments for sure with all of that.
Do you have to expect them to be more aggressive or less aggressive? I mean,
I'm not sure. Yeah, we really don't know how they're going to play it. So, like I said, you just got to be ready to adjust and, you know, be prepared for a lot of different scenarios for sure.
If you take away, and I guess you can't, but you take away some of the drops, penalties, things like that in that first game, you still had, what, 411 yards or something like that. Did you feel like, you know, you at least played respectively that way?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a frustrating game because there was a lot of aspects where we did play well. So we just have to make sure, like you said, we do a good job catching the ball, finishing drives, not giving up any costly turnovers, things like that, that really changed the outcome of the game. So I think, you know, just playing a clean game and being on top of our stuff, that's going to be the biggest thing.
The play to Josh Jacobs, is that a check down to the left, and he turns it into a 49-yard
Yeah.
play? Well, he said he sort of changed a little bit on what he was going to do on that route, too, from what he saw. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he caught the ball, kind of felt where the defenders were, and just made an outstanding play. That's one thing, you know, anytime you can check the ball down and it goes for 50 yards, that's pretty unbelievable. And it's just a testament to him. He made a couple guys miss. There was some great blocking down the field by the tight ends and wide receivers. So, yeah, it's fun to watch for sure.
You know, Steno, the guy that you had as your number 1 running back is a pretty damn good player too. The former, now he's with the Vikings, obviously, and Jones.
Oh, Aaron, yeah.
But and I don't want to use this word if it's being melodramatic, but it sure feels like Jacobs has been transformative. Like, you guys are viewed as a much more physical team all of a sudden. Like, am I off base by saying that? Like,
No, I'd say they're both different players for sure. You know, Aaron's more of a slasher. You know, he can make, you know, plays. They both make plays in the pass game, but he's more of a slasher, more of an outside zone guy. Josh is probably more of a downhill runner. They both do a very good job breaking tackles, but I think the way Josh runs, it's like you said, just a little more physical from that standpoint. Yeah, he's playing really well, and I think the team's rallying around him and his play style. And yeah, I would agree. We're playing very physically right now.
is that contain? Like, you guys didn't do a whole lot of duo before this, and now you got him, and it feels like you do that more. And tell me if I'm wrong with this assessment, but
No.
you do it a hell of a lot more
Yeah,
than you ever.
I think that's, you know, that's obviously something he likes, and, you know, we're having success with. So just one of those things that just go if it's working, stick with it. You know, don't overcomplicate things too much, you know. But yeah, it's fun to watch him go out there and just, you know, he does a great job hitting the hole, breaking tackles, obviously making DBs miss. He's spinning, you know, and making guys miss that way. It's pretty cool to watch him, you know, just how he's running the ball right now.
Yeah, what's the challenge with Za'Darius, and especially the way that they can, you know, use him?
Yeah, they move him around, and I think, you know, one of the biggest things that we saw even when Z was here was when he would get inside on the guards and centers, and they create some matchup problems in there. So that's the biggest thing in protection. We just got to make sure we know where he's at, because he's going to be moving around, and got to make sure we're doing a good job blocking him for sure.
You've been really good in road games throughout your tenure, and you've been off to a good start this year too. What is the key to making that happen?
Well, you just got to do a good job communicating. I think, you know, during practice, we obviously use the crowd noise and stuff like that to try and simulate as best you can that environment where it's hard to communicate. But yeah, it's just, you got to do a good job just being on top of your stuff and, you know, just fighting for 4 quarters. And these NFL games, man, they come down to the 4th quarter all the time. So just got to give yourself a chance to win at the end.
Are teams better at handling that? Like, I know you play Seattle next week, but like they lost 4 in a row here this season at home. They used to have this great home field advantage. I guess
You're
I'm not
saying
talking
Seattle's lost 4 in a row at home?
about until they won a couple games here of late.
Okay.
Have teams gotten better at handling all the road issues over the years, do you think?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Do you feel like you've gotten better at it?
Well, I mean, like you said, we've had a lot of success on the road, so it's just one thing we practice a lot, our silent cadence. Even in training camp, we have at least once a week where we're just working on silent cadence, you know, just to make sure we're on top of it for these situations right here. You know, this is going to be an excellent environment for a football game. So, yeah, we're definitely prepared for it.
Has that silent stuff gotten better than when, you know, when you were in camp with Tausch and Cliffy? I feel like those guys weren't as good at it as today's linemen are.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's something I guess we just really focus on a lot. So I think so far our guys have been handling it pretty well this year. I'd say the only really, you know, intense environment that we've been in this year would be Soldier Field. So this will be the next one, obviously. You know, you go to LA or Jacksonville, kind of almost felt like a half and half kind of a crowd, you know what I mean? So yeah, this will be a good test for us for sure.
Steno, what type of challenges does a guy like Kirby Joseph create, especially when you have an offense that likes to play aggressive and
Well, he is an extremely intelligent football player, and he's got awesome ball skills. He does a really good job tracking the ball in the air. He's aggressive with his hands. He makes a lot of plays. He's always around the ball, and that's one thing, like when you watch film, he's coming up with these turnovers, and he just is very instinctive. And then he's also a good tackler in space. You know, he gets guys down. Rarely do you see him miss. So he's a very, very good all-around safety, and, you know, just a guy that in the pass game you have to make sure you know where he's at.
You guys good?
Cool. Thanks, guys. See you.